Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Philosophical from the Let's Rock podcast, and this is your Freedom Friday. A lot has been on my mind this week as far as speaking on submitting versus committing, right? I hold this very dear to my heart because I know a lot of our brothers and our men are kind of going through this. Um, and I can also speak for myself that I went through this, right? Before I found my soulmate, before I got married, um, I feel like I went through a lot of trials and tribulations with my previous relationships, right? And I know sometimes it's tough to speak on because when two people grow apart or no longer together or they break up, there's always two sides of the story. Actually, three sides: their story, your story, and then there's the truth, right? So my main purpose and point is to say that I want to speak to the point of submitting versus committing, right? I think that sometimes when a man submits, it's sometimes known or looked as being weak, right? Um, our brothers, what are some of the reasons why you are submitting, right? Are you submitting to what she looks like? Are you submitting to the potential of what she could look like? My point to say is that submitting to someone is cool, it's good. But I feel, in my honest opinion, committing to something and someone is the long term solution. Why? Because for me, I submitted to women that I just submitted to that time and that place, right? I looked at a lot of the lustfulness, the way they look, the attractiveness, the aura, the look, how they stepped out. How can I show them off to make me feel like I was better than everybody else? I had the finest woman in the room, right? But this is the thing, right? When you submit to that only one point, that's all you're focused on, right? So let me speak on that, to the fact that that's all I was focused on. I never took the time to get to know them. I never took the time to get to know myself on what I needed. I never took the time to understand and realize that I couldn't be myself. I was being a slave to the narrative, to the fact that I was just submitting myself to the allure, the bait at what I call the the like the attractiveness. And that was it for me, right? I wasn't necessarily committed to doing anything outside of that, right? So I was doing things that was outside of my norm. And that's when I can say that a lot of me not being able to be myself in those situations, that's 100% on me, right? Because I didn't do my proper due diligence and commit to the overall picture, right? Could I open up to this person? Would they have my feelings at heart? Would they have my emotions at heart? Right? I didn't look a lot within myself to understand the standards of what I needed out of a relationship, let alone begin to the transition into marriage. Right? I always looked at the way I grew up on how my mom and dad were to each other. Right? And that scarred me for a little while. But my mom always made it a point to have a woman that not only respects herself, she's beautiful, but respects herself, but also acknowledges herself as being a woman, not only to submit to a man for the right reasons, but also making sure that, and I know a lot of this kind of old fashioned thinking, that they take care of you not only mentally, and I know this gets a lot of heat, but financially. Not even saying that a woman has to pay all the bills, but the fact that she can carry herself on her own financially. Like, you're just the missing cog as far as within the pieces, as far as like you're a leader. You know what I'm saying? Like taking care of you mentally, taking care of you emotionally, and taking care of you physically. Those are the three things that um, it took me a long time to understand and narrow down those standards I needed to understand what a true commitment is, right? So during those times of my submission to that person, I was only focusing on the physical, right? So when you only focus on the physical, you focus on the shallow narratives that, a lot of society tells you that it should be, right? So when we do that, we lose focus on the building blocks to understand that when you peel back the layers of a person, whether this person is right for you or wrong for you, you don't really grasp that because we're submitting to only the physical, right? But when we as men don't understand is that commitment is the overall hierarchy of what we're trying to achieve, right? And a lot of times we as men, we commit not only to the wrong things, but to the wrong women, right? We submit to the wrong things and to the wrong women, right? We submit to a woman that's attractive, that we can travel with, that we can spend a lot of money on. But at the same time, we don't want her out of our sights because of our own insecurities, right? You know, but the overall commitment is the fact that you're secure with that woman. You can build with that woman. You can communicate with that woman. Not only you guys are going to go through the ups and downs, the commitment is the fact that you're not going to allow anything to steer you off course, right? For a couple examples, right? When I was younger, I always had this initiative of like wanting to live in this fairy tale commitment, right? Have a family, have a couple kids, but society was telling me I was too young. I wasn't ready for it, right? So when society tells you that um, you're too young, you're not ready, the mindset that comes is the fact that you know you're only gonna submit to someone that's not going to give you everything you need. And that's realistic. But at the same time, you have to also view the core values. And that wasn't my focus. I wasn't focused on the core values. I was just focused on the physical, right? And let everything else come later. But at the same time, it didn't. And I was just repeating in a certain cycle. So we as men we're submitting to what a woman looks like, the mirage, the facade, right? Those things are temporary. But the commitment allows you to bring a mindset to that this thing can last long term and forever, right? Understanding what you need. And it took me 10 plus years to come to that understanding of standards that I no longer that I now understand what I need, but also want out of my partner, right? And understand that patience is key. So a lot of times I see now is that we're we as men are submitting to the fact that we're looking for women to tell us and direct us how to go through life. And I do believe in the fact that women have certain ways of doing things better than us. Yes, they do. But at the same time, we as men, we're kings, we're leaders, we're purpose driven, we're ambitious. It's not right for women to be able to direct us on every single facet of what we're supposed to do. Right, men? And that's the submission to the fact that we're submitting to women to show us how to lead. When women are trying to find their purpose driven leader kings, right? So a lot of times, a lot of men are submitting to women that they feel they're not worthy of when the women are looking for kings and purpose leaders that they feel they are worthy towards. And that's why there's such a clash in relationships, right? You've got more men submitting than women committing. You've got more men committing to women that are only willing to submit to that one thing that you have to offer. And I'm here to tell you that that's the reason why the dating world is the way it is right now, right? Everybody is looking for what they can get. Everybody is looking for how they can get ahead, right? The men are looking for the attractive women to tell them how to be a man in life. The women are looking for a man to pay all the bills. That's their form of leadership. And the true commitment has gone down the drain because everybody's committing and submitting for the wrong reasons. But the true commitment is committing to someone that is based off of the things that you need, particular in your life, right? To end it off, this is that men, your kings, your leaders, you're purpose driven. It's not right, and for all means, this is not for all men, right? And it's up to you to find your purpose. It's up to you to understand what you need in your life. If you need a woman to tell you how to live your life, that's cool. That's good for you. But at the same time, don't complain about it, right? Don't come out and say that, I'm okay that my woman dictates, everything in my life, but you know, bashes other men that are allowing it also, right? So again, free yourself from submitting to the wrong person because it it still goes back to what are you submitting to? Are you if you're submitting to a woman that brings a certain value to your life, then you've got to come to the understanding that that woman is going to require you to commit. But if you're submitting to the physical, just the physical, it's temporary, right? We as men, we've got to understand to commit to the long term goal. And you've got to be able to figure that out for yourself. Because for me, it took me 10 plus years to figure that out. Right. So free yourself from submitting to like the wrong things. Free yourself from thinking that the good women are going to require you to commit because they value themselves and worthy and know what they can bring to the table. But it's up to you to realize that, right? So free yourself from just not being able to get out of the situation you're in. If you feel like you're in a wrong situation, you're submitting for the wrong reasons, you're in it for the wrong reasons, take a step back and think about it and understand and know what you need, know your standards. Because I did. It took me a long time to understand that. You know what I mean? So if you're going through something like that, um, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube page, subscribe to the Let's Rock podcast. Let us know what you think. Comment, like. All right. Philosophical, I'm out. Peace.